Hey, it's another week, another recipe, and we are hopping back on the train of World War II mock recipes with a mock apple pie that really surprised me. Come join me for this odd but absolutely delicious experiment. Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name's Courtney Morris and I cook history's forgotten recipes out of random cookbooks I find. Thank you for joining me today. And if you've been with me for the past couple of videos, we are on a mock recipe train and we're going to continue on it with a mock apple pie, which I'm interested in to see how this works out. So let's get into the video. All right, so we are going to try a mock apple pie today from the 1940s. And this was requested actually in one of the comments from a previous mock video I did. And it kind of bumped it up on my list of things to do because I have been really curious about this. And if you watched any of my videos previously, you'll kind of know I don't have a fond likeness for wet bread. And that is what the interior of this is Ritz Crackers, not apples. So I have a little apprehension, like I usually do, but we're gonna get through this and I think it might actually be good. Apparently it was a popular recipe. So mock recipes are basically recipes that are the something out of nothing recipes, but it's something out of something else, but we call it something else recipes, which blows my mind. And I don't know who decided to make crackers the interior of an apple pie and call it apple, but I think there's something to do with it. They have cream of tartar in here, which I know can sort of trick your brain into tasting an apple kind of flavor. So we shall see. So we are gonna start out with 1.5 cups of water, a 1/2 cup of sugar, teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar, and then 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then an 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now there are a lot of different recipes for a mock apple pie, but none were so different that they stood out like, wow, this looks really weird or this is amazing looking. They all kind of resemble the same thing. So I just picked one off rationalliving.blogspot.com and we're gonna see how this works out. So you're supposed to stir this around and let it get to a boiling point and then boil it for 3 minutes. I'm assuming what this does is give the sugar a chance to caramelize and get a little thicker. And I mean, from my standpoint here, it smells like the interior of an apple pie. There's nothing amazing about it. I do have a little bit of a guess as to the interior texture of this. Might be more mushy than an apple pie would. So I'm not, we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna move this handle out of the way and we're gonna prep the inside here. So I already did pie crust for the sake of time. You need an uncooked pie crust and it says 20 Ritz Crackers. Now Ritz was invented in about 1920-ish and so they would have been around. I don't know why we would have decided to put this in the middle of a pie aside from the fact that maybe whoever invented it was starving and needed something to give her kids. So it says about 20 Ritz Crackers. So 2. So that does not look like enough. I did not use my deep dish pie dish. It's just a regular one. And I can't remember seeing where it said in the recipe if I needed to crush these up or just lay them flat. But I'm assuming since they're crackers, they're gonna swell. But I kind of almost want to put a few more in. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, I'm just gonna use the whole package just because otherwise I'll have like 5 crackers left and it can't make that big of a difference, maybe? All right, so this is done boiling. I've turned the burner off and too much steam here. It smells like Christmas over here. This is smelling really, really good. So now I need to let it cool a little bit. I'm not entirely sure why, but it probably makes it into just more of a syrupy consistency. So I will put this in the fridge for a few minutes, let it cool down, and then pour it on and we'll take it from there. Okay, so while I'm letting that cool, I'm gonna go ahead and roll out my top crust and get that ready. Good use of my time. I already cleaned up, so what else is there to do? Okay, so I sat this in my fridge for a little bit. It's cooled off now. It's still warm, but it didn't say to cool off completely. It just said cool for a bit. And then you just pour it over your crackers, which looks awful. It's smells good. I'll give it that. Okay, so I am going to put the topper on now. Okay, so we're just gonna lay that on there. I'm kind of surprised there's no like potato starch or cornstarch or even a roux to make it thick. But I guess maybe that's what boiling the sugar was for. Maybe it just gets it to that syrup stage and makes it thick. Although I'm sure, you know, when crackers get wet, they bloat, so it's just that's a terrible word. That's a terrible word to use. That does not make it sound appetizing at all, but it's okay. I'm just gonna make this look as pretty as I can, and normally I put an egg wash on my apple pie, but considering we are in the wartime ration recipe time and we're having to use crackers instead of apples, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to use my egg ration to baste this with it. So I might just do a little milk on the top. It'll give it a nice color and it'll look prettier. And in this case, I don't think powdered egg would do much. So I am going to put little vents. I don't have a lot of pie crust left to work with after I trim this, so I don't know how decorative it's gonna get, but that's okay. I guess with the crust on, you can't tell what's inside. I do hope it pops up a bit. It is very concave, only for lack of filling, but maybe the crackers will fill it out a little bit and poof. Okay, so I'm supposed to put this in a 425-degree oven for about 40 minutes until the crust is cooked and golden brown, because that's the only part we're cooking because the crackers are already done. So we just need to make sure the pie crust is finished, and I will see you on the other side of that. All right, this is out of the oven, and it's still a little warm yet, but it is cooled off, so it smells really good, actually. It really does smell quite delicious. My pie crust shrank for some reason, but I was in kind of a hurry, so I'm not, whatever. All right, well, let's cut in and see how this looks. It definitely sounds mushy. Cutting into this, it definitely does not have a very appetizing sound, but you know, that's all right. Okay, so I was right. The crackers did kind of puff up, and that concave crust that we saw before it was cooked leveled out a bit, and it's okay. It looks like a pie. On the inside, it actually looks like an apple pie. It looks like layers of apple. So honestly, just by looks, if you didn't tell me that this wasn't an apple pie, I don't think I would have guessed it just by looking at it. So here goes. I'm kind of mad at how much I like that. That really actually tastes like an apple pie. The interior, it doesn't taste like Ritz, it doesn't taste like crackers, and it's mushy in the sense of like if you were to make like a canned apple pie filling that's actually quite mushy because it's been cooked so much and almost like a pureed, but that's delicious. That's actually really, really good, and I think the salt from the Ritz Crackers actually enhances that flavor, that sweet, salty. There's not a lot of salt though. This is kind of along the lines of that tomato cake I made. I will link that at the end for you to take a look at, because that blew my mind. And this is kind of doing the exact same thing. Okay, no wonder this was really popular. This is delicious. This is really, really good. This is also another great example, and if you stuck around on my channel at all for any length of time, you'd know that this channel is kind of about creating something from nothing and experimenting on old recipes that people use because they were forced to try to create some sort of a normal in a tough situation. If you can create a mock apple pie that tastes like an apple pie, your kids are going to be happy, your husband's going to be happy, everybody's going to be, you know, a little more comforted in a time of crisis. And you know what, I am here for it. You could probably use saltines too. It probably doesn't even have to be Ritz, but so thank you very much for the recommendation. I love getting the ideas from your comments. Thank you so much. I will always take recipe ideas of things that you want me to try or anything that you don't want to try that you'd rather have me try that sound kind of odd. If you made it this far, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did and am going to. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, join our little community. I upload every Monday with a new historical experiment, as that's what they are, is definitely experiments, because some are bad and some are real good. Say hi in the comments or leave me a recipe. I would love to hear from you. Hit the little like button if you liked it. It helps the algorithm or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what it does, but it's good to know that I am putting out content and recipes that you're enjoying. Other than that, I hope you have a great week. I hope you try this. As always, I'll leave the recipe in the description. And if you need something else to watch after this video, check out the tomato cake, which was probably a little more surprising than this, but it's on the same plane. Go check it out. It was really good. All right, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.